Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene Flash Update. Today is May 2nd, 2025, time in Texas, about 9 a.m. Some of my sources I'll use today: God in the Bible, Patriot Subscribers, Award CARROLL, Redacted, How Turner, PIEROGI, Steve Quayle's aggregate site, Breitbart, Ryan Hall, y'all, Space Weather, formerly Suspicious Observers. Some of the things we'll cover: G2 and flares, Texas and the U.S., more tornadoes, flying Marines, and President Trump with regard to Iran and China. So let's get started. And thanks for hitting the like button. That helps my channel to grow. I have a Patriot subscriber who predicts 2 impacts soon in the Pacific Ocean. I'm assuming these could be underwater volcanoes. This could be something from space, and one on land in Puerto Rico. My Patriot subscribers know stuff, so I pay attention. I have a Patriot subscriber talking about chemtrails in Kansas. And I'd like to say thank you to Jonelle Enterprises for extra support for my channel. We have this from regarding that recent arrest by the FBI of a Milwaukee, Wisconsin circuit judge, Dugan. And now the Wisconsin Supreme Court has suspended her from her bench. And she was arrested because she took direct action to help illegals evade ICE. And we have more on rogue judges and unelected judges who are operating outside their authority and power. They're a district judge. They can only make rulings in their district, and yet they're making rulings, attempting to make rulings that apply nationwide in efforts to stop President Trump's program. So we have additional efforts by Congress, led by Representative Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, Brian Mast, Republican of Florida, to rein in rogue judges. I have a Patriot subscriber who's talking about hardening the power grid, and says in her state, we've been seeing our poles replaced with new boxes on them. I will say that in Texas, we are seeing our power grid hardened, wooden poles taken down and replaced by some type of metal poles and other devices. So we do see the U.S. and President Trump has added to, since his inauguration with executive order, additional efforts to harden the U.S. power grid because, and it's my opinion, that recent power takedown and we saw in Portugal and Spain and parts of Europe, I believe, was a combination of sun activity and the Earth's decreasing electromagnetic shield. So that means we will most likely see more impacts on power grids from the sun, I believe, in the near future. So that's going on. And we have this. I have a Patriot subscriber. The element of surprise is gone, and we, the people, will stand and fight if required. Yes, I agree. We're seeing all these sleeper cells in the U.S. and things still crossing or attempting to cross our border and other areas. from Space Weather, formerly Suspicious Observers on YouTube, and from NASA NOAA Space Weather. We have predicted today a G1 possibly increasing to a G2 with the increase of impact on the Earth from the solar wind. We also have large sunspots facing the Earth that could possibly cause some flares today, and so more impact on our power grid. And we have this from Stephen Gardner. Yeah. So now this is going on, and I've put this forth. We know that our number one enemy is the CCP, I believe. So we have Africa. We have a small island called Mauritius. And we have India coming down. We have an island, Diego Garcia. And this is part of a group of islands called the Chagres. Now, I thought it very strange recently. Now, Diego Garcia is both a UK military base as well as the US, and Diego Garcia is required by the US for strategic use, and we have the Middle East in this area, so it's contingent to that. I found it very strange that Keir Starmer, the current leader of UK, had said, oh, we're going to give Diego Garcia to Mauritius, the nation of Mauritius. And I wondered, what the heck is he talking about? This is both a UK military base and a US military base. Give it to Mauritius. Why? Well, now it's coming out that Mauritius is owned by the CCP or controlled by the CCP. So we believe Keir Starmer is being paid off by the CCP. And how can Keir Starmer just say the UK is going to give these islands, the Chagres Islands, to Mauritius? It doesn't seem legal. But it appears he has an ulterior motive, and the only possible situation I can see is that Keir Starmer is being paid by the CCP to do this, to just give a strategic military asset to the control of the CCP. So Keir Starmer is not a friend of the U.S. So that's going on. And now we have this. We have what's going on with India and Pakistan. And it appears Pakistan. We saw that recent, what many believe to be a false flag, a terrorist attack that was credited to Pakistan, and now we've seen in the past week military forces between Pakistan and India exchanging gunfire and possibly some mortars, and they're both nuclear powers. So what's going on there? And we have this from what's going on also with the U.S. and Iran. So we saw recently in Iran, so let me redraw this map, get some things out of the way. We have Iran, Israel, we've got Saudi Arabia, and Yemen, the Red Sea. So we had a U.S. carrier, the Truman. And just a couple of days ago, supposedly an F-16 fell overboard. It comes out now, I believe that was from Ward Carroll, that the Truman was pulling an F-16 on board. They have a whole crew that positions the F-16s. And they were, it comes out, making an offensive maneuver to get away from something, most likely a missile drone coming in from the Houthis, which caused the F-16 to fall overboard. And the individual who was guiding the F-16, sitting in it, received a minor injury when she had to jump out before the F-16 fell overboard. It appears that the U.S. military is interpreting this as an action by Iran and has said all these actions by the Houthis is now being accredited or back to Iran. So we had peace talks between Iran and the U.S., or economic agreements. We had another meeting scheduled next Saturday in Rome. That's been postponed. And we had yesterday several individuals, including Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, coming out and giving a warning to Iran that the U.S. now interprets all action by the Houthis to be at the behest of Iran. And in addition, yesterday, President Trump also came out and said there will be secondary sanctions against Iran with regard to sale of their oil and petrochemicals, which means any nation buying oil or petrochemicals from Iran cannot do business with the U.S. China is the #1 buyer of oil and petrochemicals from Iran. So yesterday, President Trump is saying to both Iran and China, take this. So that's going on. And now we have this from Alexander Makaris. He's a European journalist. With regard to Russia and Ukraine, what's going on there? We saw overnight both Ukraine and Russia doing massive drone attacks on one another. And we have this coming out. Russia has 2 new armies they're bringing in. One will come from Belarus, from the north. It's believed to hit Kiev. A second is coming from the south, and it's believed possibly to impact also Kharkiv up here. And the second one to come from the south is to impact and move from Donbass across the Oskol River. So that's going on. More action. We had also President Trump and Scott Bessent, President Trump's Secretary of Treasury, signing a minerals deal with Ukraine yesterday. And we have this. President Trump participated in a morning prayer meeting and also is going to put out an executive order regarding religious freedom. And he also signed the minerals deal. And we have this. announcement coming out from White House spokesperson Tammy Bruce. So yesterday, we saw some new movement in President Trump's cabinet. So we had Tim Walz, who had been security advisor, resign. It's believed he's now going to become the ambassador to the UN. And Hal Turner puts forth a suggestion for the replacement for Tim Walz as National Security Advisor as General Mike Flynn. So we'll see. And we have this, Flying Marines. I'll link this for you from a YouTube site. Very interesting. The Marines now have backpacks, something like the Jetsons, and can fly from one ship to another. Very interesting. We have this. So the minerals deal President Trump signed with Ukraine gives the U.S. Preferential 50-50 split of the value of the rare earth minerals in Ukraine, which the U.S. needs for tech and for military weapons. We also have President Trump firming up tariffs on de minimis shipments from China. We would see as TEMU and shine. Many Americans buy inexpensive products directly from China. De minimis shipments they can come in the mail in small packages and are worth $800 or less. President Trump and also the U.S. government says China uses this method to bring in synthetic opioids. President Trump firmed tariffs up yesterday in a new executive order on these de minimis shipments. So expect that shopping arm to go away. This concludes my flash. It's good to pray for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.